So hi, welcome to Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with
Matt from the Classic Crime.
All right, some questions to say about their upcoming album, Grim Age. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
I feel pretty good, actually. It was a long time coming. It took 2 years to make, so it's good to finally have some singles out and have people responding positively to them.
Hell yeah.
Always feels good, makes it worthwhile.
Hell yeah, that's
Hell
awesome.
Yeah. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, so Grim Age as I was writing the album, I was thinking about this journey that we're all embarking on with technology and AI and algorithms and dopamine response systems and it really feels like a revolution, and so I was thinking of the word pilgrimage, because we're going somewhere, but we don't know where, but it's some sort of destination, and trying to arrive somewhere that's like good for all of humanity. Um, but in the meantime, there is this struggle to make sense of the world, to figure things out.
Mhm.
And within pilgrimage is the words grim age. So that just kind of stood out to me as like within every pilgrimage to some sort of destination that's positive or good or enlightening, there is this grim age that we all have to pass through,
Hmm.
individually and then also as a society. So that's what the topic of the album is about. Um, it deals a lot with like just the end of things, because that's what it feels like for a lot of people, is that like some way that we used to be, some way that we used to live is dying. And so it sort of addresses the death of that, and then also, culturally, and then also individual, facing our individual deaths, with all the impending doom in the world. Um, so that was the album title and concept. And with the topic of like AI and technology and just infusing our biology with technology so much that we're like cyborgs now, with our phones and screens and everything. It made sense to use AI for art.
Mhm.
So we did the album art with AI prompts.
Hmm.
Um, Mid-Journey, I think it was. Um, but when I saw it, it was actually supposed to be for like a single cover. But when I saw that, and we had basically worked for 2 months on a completely different cover, when I saw that image of the skull with the tree growing through it, with the town and the people, it just looked like it encapsulated so much of the concepts of each song on the record.
Mhm.
There's a lot of songs, yeah, about death. So the skull is there, or mortality, and there's a lot of songs about growth. And so, or there's a song called Into the Earth, and this idea of this tree growing out of this skull,
Yeah.
sort of, that death kind of inspires rebirth, and how that metaphorically works with, uh, with the transition that, I'm trying to capture with the songs.
Okay.
So.
I think it's funny because, like you said, Grim Age is kind of like talking about like almost a takeover like of technology
Mhm.
and of AI, but
Mhm.
that AI was used to create the album artwork. So do you feel that there is like a healthy way to use AI like in everyday life, like since you used it for the album art?
I mean, I don't know. The thing is like we don't really have a choice whether or not it's with us, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we're in this sort of like we don't know phase, right? And so it's really about exploring the space where we integrate with
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
And I don't know if inevitably, some sort of sentient artificial general intelligence becomes our god, or I don't know what happens,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like in the meantime, it just made sense sort of metaphorically to be like, okay, this song is about, or this group of songs kind of is about this, and this plays a huge aspect in the inspiration of the album, and so why not use art generated from it, to tell the story.
Fair enough.
And was there any like debate when coming to that decision? Because it might come off as like a little hypocritical, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but were you guys even like a little hesitant by using AI for that?
No, I mean there is some stigma. The funny thing is I'm pretty neutral on whether or not it's good or bad. Like
Okay,
I think
that's cool.
I think I think it's inevitable.
Mm.
And whether or not it's good or bad depends on so many variables that we could never predict.
Hmm.
So, and that none of us lay people have control over.
Mm.
It's, so I'm neutral on it. Like I know some people are like, "Oh, that's not real art, that's AI art." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Like that doesn't to me, if I'm typing prompts into the AI with an artistic vision and it spits something back that I love, then it's art. So I'm
Mm.
cool with that.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
fair.
So could you tell us a little bit about your writing process for this album?
Hmm.
Well, we did a crowdfund to basically it was a Kickstarter, so it was like a really early pre-order 2 years ago. And I had not written. It was basically right when COVID was like there was like a resurgence, and it was like, okay, well, we can't go on tour, so what am I going to do? How am I going to pay the bills and just keep working if I can't tour? I was like, I guess I'll just make another album. We just put out one in 2020, like right before like schools shut down and all
Yeah.
our tours were canceled. So I just decided I was going to do another from scratch without any songs written. So I did the Kickstarter, people pre-ordered all the packages, and then I just started writing in basically January of 2021. And it took me all of 2021 to write these 11 songs, which was pretty painstaking. It was probably the hardest experience because I was just alone. I wasn't with anybody. I tried to do some like Zoom writing sessions with buddies, but yeah, so it was just pulling teeth all of 2021 to write the record and then all of 2022 to record it basically. So it was a full 2 year process, and now here we are in 2023, and it's ready. So
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. So what song off this album took the longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
oh man, longest to write. The one that actually had the most iterations was probably New Noise. Um, couldn't figure out how to make it work. Um, like it's I think its demo title, working title was New Noise Bad Verse because I couldn't figure out how to make the verse work
Mhm.
with the chorus. It was kind of all over the place. But we did a bunch of iterations and changed a lot of different of the arrangements and finally got it to a place where like even when we went into mixing, I told the mixer I might just cut this song. It doesn't really fit the record, and it doesn't really fit itself. It doesn't know what it is. And he was like, hang on, what if I, flip a few things around? And I'm like, oh dude, we've done all that. And he did. And then we're like, okay, he's on to something. And we iterated some more. And then finally we're like, yeah, this song is definitely going on the record. So some songs are just like that. Like they just take a long time to sort out. My favorite songs are always songs that come like really instantly because I'm lazy and I love just like something just popping out in 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
um I don't know, probably a song on this record that did that was Right Now or End of Everything. Were a couple songs that came together pretty quick. And that's probably why I put them up close to the top of the record.
Fair enough.
Perfect.
So when we're talking about New Noise, you said it was at the mixing stages, so it was already recorded, and you were still unsure of it.
Yeah. I
So
was like, I don't, yeah.
so then, like, I would assume you at least believed in it enough to like have a recorded version of it.
Yeah, I recorded it thinking, maybe we could fix its problems along the way.
Mhm.
Um, but once it starts to come together, you're like, it's just not quite there. And then, so yeah, sometimes mixing can fix a few things.
Fair enough. All right.
Absolutely.
So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you write the opener to be the opener, closer be a closer, just shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
Yeah, the opener was definitely the opener, because it's a 1 minute song,
Mhm.
so it feels like an intro. But I also wanted to shock people, because it's sort of stylistically a little more like hardcore punk than we normally get. Um, I think technically we're a pop band because we do write hooks.
Hmm.
I am concerned with melody and like catchy lyrics and stuff, but we, our stream is usually like alternative rock or you know, but this song, the first song was pretty punk rock, and so I wanted to start with some yelling just to, I don't know, highlight the concept of the album with start with some anger
Mm-hmm.
about the grim age we live in, and then break it down with some nuance after.
All right.
Absolutely. Love it. So would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
Headspace, I mean, all over the place, as it always is with writing a record. One day I'm happy with the work that I've done. The next day I'm despairing at how, you know, ill-equipped I am to do anything good. So it's pretty manic, it's pretty bipolar usually. But I have this second level where like I've been doing this for 20 years now, so I know that's the process. I know the process is that I'm gonna love the record and then I'm gonna hate the record, and then eventually when it comes out I'll be like, it's okay, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually the process. But like when you're writing it, I'm just like, I'm all over the place. It really depends on what I've done that day and whether or not I feel good about it.
Fair enough.
Gotcha.
And not to get too personal, and if this question's uncomfortable, you don't have to answer it. But like when you're in those like low points where you're hating the record, how do you kind of cope with that and like make sure that you're not like just saying fuck this and like delete it all kind of thing, you know?
I normally get like my coping mechanism is just to become like aloof and distant and in my head and trying to escape, thinking about the record. So I'll end up staying up way too late, like binge watching anything to just get me away from thinking about the album. Because if I go to bed at a normal time, I'll lay there for 2 or 3 hours just thinking of lyrics or arrangements that would work with problems I'm working on. And it's just it's like torture.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to be more escapist. Like I try to get away from the record, but in unhealthier times, it's like getting away from everything. It's like my getting away from my family or getting away from, where, I can kind of be a little bit distant,
Mm-hmm.
I think,
Mhm.
to cope. But yeah, over time that's gotten better. As I just know what the process is, and I'm like, oh, this is the part of the record cycle where I hate everything and I don't want to talk to anybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm being very distant
Exactly.
and aloof. And then I know that I come out of that,
Mhm.
and my wife especially is very understanding of that, even though she's like, all right, you do your thing, I'm going to bed.
Fair enough.
She knows what's up.
Yeah.
And then also, back to the writing process, you mentioned that it took about a year to write it, and you tried to do some social distanced writing with other people. Were you able to adapt at all to kind of that socially distanced writing, or did you just kind of say, fuck it, okay, I'm just doing this myself for however long it'll take?
Yeah, I was I mean, there was a little bit of like iteration that I could get done where I sent something to someone and they sent me something back and it gave me an idea for like something else. But there
Mhm.
wasn't any like truly collaborative thing that came out of it. Uh I really, yeah, I have to be in the room, I think.
Yeah.
There's something about just looking at a screen
Mhm.
by yourself in a room that just doesn't have the same energy of like two people. there's some sort of nervous energy or anxiety or something that allows for chaos and creativity when you're in a room with somebody. That also kind of drives that energy kind of drives the like, we're here to do something specific and we're going to get something done together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't feel that over, video.
Mhm.
So
That disconnects. It's very hard to get past that. It really is.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah, agreed.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should they do it in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is it a workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
I like to walk and listen to albums, but I know some people are car people. If you've got a 40-minute drive, probably a good time. But no, there's something for everybody. There's something for, there's anthems for friends to sing along with. Uh, there's like dark and brooding, intimate songs. Uh, but yeah, I always say, a good pair of headphones and a walk will be ideal.
All right. Sounds good.
Absolutely. So this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
3 words.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, feeling.
Okay.
There you go.
Sounds
That's
good.
perfect. That's perfect. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That was really what I was trying to capture, was the feeling of right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really hard for art and artists to capture what it feels like to live now in 2023, because it's unlike anything that's come before us.
Yeah.
And so we have there's the human condition, which is like continuous across all of, art history and literature and everything. But there's something really distinct about the times. And that's what I was trying to capture with the songs. So just the feeling of it.
So with that being said, is that kind of like what you want people listening to kind of come out with?
Oh, I don't want people listening to come out with anything. There's no intent really. It's just, hopefully, what I hope for is that people can relate to the feeling. Like for me, my favorite songs put words and emotions to feelings that like I have subconsciously but haven't really surfaced and articulated. And so songs kind of have that way of like bringing that out of you. And so that's all my hope for anybody, is that like if they can relate to the feeling in any song, and that helps them understand and articulate their own feelings. Maybe they relate, like maybe they haven't thought about that nagging feeling, that things are different, that there's a vibe shift, and I don't know what it is. I hope these songs can help articulate that.
Sure. So can you talk about any particularly challenging or standout moments from the creation of the album? It could be positive, it could be negative, just something that you remember.
I think tracking drums was pretty fun. We did it at Robert Lang Studios in Seattle, Shoreline technically, but like Nirvana, Foo Fighters, Death Cab for Cutie, Macklemore, like tons of artists have been in that room, and it was our first time tracking anything there. So it was fun to just be a part of Seattle's, history, and put way too many mics on the drums and, use every piece of gear they had. So that was pretty fun.
Hell yeah.
Kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
Excuse
me.
So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
Gas station or a rest stop? Snack. Usually I'll like try to grab a banana, I guess, or like maybe beef jerky. I don't know. I don't usually like grab packaged snacks. It'll usually be like a drink, like I don't know, some kind of like hydrating sports drink or something.
Damn. All right. So you're like
Mhm.
you're healthy on tour, basically.
Trying to be. I mean, you can't really be, but like when you stop, you should try to be, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. So on the topic of food, if your project was a dish, what dish would your project be and why?
I think it would be a pretty full meal.
Okay.
Um, it's definitely not like sushi. Um, but it is pretty raw. So maybe it is.
Hmm.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is like a
Maybe it is.
omakase experience. 11 plates, 11 dishes served up by a master sushi chef.
Damn.
Okay.
That's
I
expensive.
I hope. Yeah, it's $130 a head.
Oh my
Jesus.
goodness.
All right.
Love it.
So for the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Jeez, what would my life? Maybe it would be sushi, honestly.
It's the best.
Yeah, or I mean, either that or like smash burgers or like something really, you know. But sushi, I mean, yeah, I love sushi. I love really good steak. I don't know. It well, actually, you know what would be good is like just the best uh nigiri sushi
Mm.
with like 18-year Japanese scotch
Ooh.
whiskey.
Nice.
Damn.
Technically, it's Japanese whiskey, but they make it in the style of scotch.
All right.
Damn. It's
Yeah.
fancy.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna,
Might
last
as well go out
one.
in
So
style.
yeah, exactly.
That's fair. Yeah. So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
One fictional world.
Hmm.
Oh, probably some. I'm probably built for like some medieval style universe
Hmm.
where like violence is useful.
Okay.
I feel like like I feel like anger motivates a lot of what I do.
Hmm.
Like I channel it into positive things, but it really is like a gut sort of anger.
Mhm.
And I feel like I would do well on like a battlefield somewhere, um, you know, murdering my foes. So uh I don't know, maybe like the Witcher universe or like
Ooh.
something like that.
All right.
Yeah. How do you feel about Henry Cavill being tossed off, I guess?
Yeah, because he's such a weirdo or
No, he's apparently it's because he's just too enthusiastic about being the Witcher.
oh
Like
really?
that was it. He was like, "You're too excited. We're gonna find someone else to do it." Now I think it's like one of the Hemsworths. It's the one that was in Hunger Games. I
I
can't know
thought
if I don't know if that's Liam or Chris.
yeah. I thought he did a good job with the role,
Yeah,
but apparently he was too eccentric for the crew.
makes no
That's
sense.
hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I think you should let artists be eccentric,
Mhm.
Exactly.
you shouldn't try to hold them to norms and standards
Mhm.
of whatever culture. You should let them be taboo and weird because that's what makes them special and fun.
Exactly.
Um, if they're not hurting anyone too much, I guess.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's like you'd rather want someone who's like excited about the role that they're playing rather than someone who's like, oh, I have to go play the Witcher guy again today.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
It pissed
Yeah.
me off when they announced that. I'm not gonna lie. Like that kind of ruined my
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
kind of a bummer. I
yeah.
do watch that show, so
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's good.
So I have not asking the last question. Every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
probably blue. I like all the shades of blue.
Nice.
Okay.
I also like all the shades of green.
Nice.
Nice.
So that's yeah.
All right.
But the ocean, the sky, I mean, you can't beat blue.
For sure.
Yeah. Got a point.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
No, just that Grim Age, the album comes out March 31st.
Next week.
Yeah, next week. Whole thing comes out. There's 2 songs available now on Spotify, iTunes. We got videos for them up on our YouTube page, The Classic Crime. Just look us up.
Oh yeah. All right. Well,
Perfect.
thank you for sending out this. This has been Matt from The Classic Crime, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.